the steps. There we go. It's just going to take a few seconds to go. Okay, we are live. So, welcome to the Golf Podcast Live. Today we have a very special guest from Montreal, Quebec, Yohann Benson. We are going to recap some of the PGA Championship and then dive into Johann's advanced golf career. He's a very established golfer in Canada, and we look forward to learning more about him. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsors, ECS Agency, a full-service web and content development company in Vancouver, the Upper Hand Collectibles in Burlington, Ontario, and the Well Drink Company, keeping us hydrated. They also have fantastic juice selection and recently into vodka spritzers. So lots of fun there. Yohann, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate your time today. Why don't you give us a little bit of an intro into your golf? I saw you preferred baseball, much like I did as a child. I played hockey and baseball and got into golf late, but you've taken it and you've ran with it. So why don't you give us a rundown of how you got into the sport?
I got into the game simply. I'm from a very modest family, and I played baseball basically growing up all my life. And when I was 16 or 17, I was looking for a summer job, and I had a good friend of mine who worked at a public club, golf course in the West Island of Montreal, Club de Golf Vaudreuil. And I was, like I said, looking for a summer job, and that's how I started. I started cleaning clubs, cleaning carts, and we were lucky enough that we could play in the afternoon. So somehow I got good pretty quickly, and then after that, my father plays golf, but he's not a particularly good golfer. But my grandfather, his dad, was a very accomplished golfer. But I was asking him to bring me to his club. Maybe Whitlock Country Club in Hudson.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a very nice 100-year-old country club. And my grandpa, the Benson family, all of them were members there. So I asked my grandfather to, I wanted to go play Whitlock with them after I got pretty good. My grandpa didn't want to bring me because he thought I was going to slow him down. And then an assistant pro that left Vaudreuil to go to Whitlock organized a round with my grandfather and I without telling my grandpa that I was the guest coming. And I shot even par from the back tees.
Nice.
And 2 days later, I was a member at Whitlock. So that's kind of how it started. And, became pretty good at it. Like I said, played amateur events in Canada, and then met the girl that I would marry after that. The first winter, I went to Florida, winter 2002.
Yeah.
And then I moved to the United States full time in 2005, and then started playing the Canadian Tour around 07, 08.
Mm-hmm.
Played the U.S. Open in 08.
Very cool.
And then, I was trying. I never really had, unfortunately, I really never had substantial sponsors. So I always had to do everything on my own, which was very stressful.
Yeah, can imagine.
And in 2014, I had Korn Ferry Tour status. I was playing with Justin Thomas. It was a hell of a class. Tony Finau, Daniel Berger, Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, Mark Hubbard. And I had a conditional status, so I didn't play every event. Yeah. And then in July of 2014, that's when Mark Hubbard asked me to help him out and become his caddy, which I accepted to do. And so I caddied for Mark from 2014 to 2018. And throughout those 6 years or 4 or 5 years that I've caddied for Mark, I also caddied a bit for Hadwin from time to time. caddied for Russell Knox sporadically, summer of 2017.
Yeah.
And then came the RDS TSM adventure. I had done some media work with the Canadian Tour, throughout 2010, 2011-ish, before they became the PGA Tour Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. And then in 2019, RDS came and asked me for some help for some broadcasting of the golf events, PGA Tour events. And I really enjoyed it. And then COVID happened. And then since I spend more time in the United States, I asked the big boss from RDS to send me to the Masters November 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just simpler for me than coming back to Canada and having the quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that went really, really well. And then since then, my role as an announcer for RDS is becoming more and more important. And I did all the Florida events from on site. I did the Masters. I'll do the Canadian Open. I'll be there on site. And then next year, I'm hoping to do a little more even, and I'm hoping to go to the President's Cup in September in Charlotte. So everything's going
really
well.
Cool.
And I'm a golf pro now, a club pro at Le Mirage Golf Club, just north of Montreal. It's a beautiful 36-hole facility. It used to be owned by Celine Dion, and it was purchased by 18 shareholders last year. So it's the second year under the new ownership, and it's going really, really well. The season, unfortunately, is taking its time. I think we had 4 really nice days in the last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Today was sunny, but still chilly. And but I look forward to a great summer here in Canada, and it's nice to get out of the Florida heat a little bit.
Yeah, as much as a lot of us want to move to Florida, to get away from the cold up here, as I said, I'm out here in Vancouver, and we've had the worst spring in 80 years. And like this last 4 or 5 days, we finally got to 20-degree weather. I wore shorts yesterday for a match for the first time of the year. So I've got a team in the World Amateur Match Race. I don't know if you heard about that, but
I have not. No.
Yeah, it's a global tournament that starts locally. You work your way through into the regionals, and the finals are in Dubai. So we're trying to battle our way through it, but it's great to play in shorts. I forgot what that felt like. It's been a long time. So you mentioned new ownership of Le Mirage. What's the difference between the Celine Dion group and the new shareholders? Are they making improvements to the club? What would people expect to see?
Yeah, no, they I think they're going to run it a little more as a private club. I don't know the old ownership because last year was my first year at Le Mirage, and it was my first time ever stepping foot there. There's so many courses in Quebec that I haven't played just because I've been in the United States for so long. So I tried to go and discover 2 or 3 golf courses that I'm told to go play, that are worth playing. I try to travel a little bit throughout Quebec as the summer goes on, but I'm really busy with lessons and TV and radio and all that. And it's fun because of RDS and because of my playing pedigree, if you want. I'm starting to be a little recognized in the province and other places. So it's fun because people are now reaching out to me on Facebook and inviting me to, we would like for you to come visit this region, this club, and that club would like to have you for a weekend or something like that. So it's something I would really like to do to meet the golfers in Quebec and Northern Ontario and stuff like that. And I try to allow some time to go and visit the golf fans around the province and, just talk about my passion, talk about my past, and I'm so fortunate to have really, really close ties with numerous PGA Tour players, LPGA Tour players,
Yeah.
caddies, agents,
Yes.
coaches. That, you know, if I can help out the juniors, if I can help out the amateur golfers in my province of Quebec, well, I'll gladly do it.
Yeah, no, that's great. You've been able to excel with a golf career, a multifaceted career. From the media side of it and playing and professional tours, and I play on the VGT out here on the amateur side. But as you know, it's produced Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin, Adam Svensson, who's out there now.
Correct.
What was it like caddying for Hadwin? I've met him. He's a great guy, but that's a different relationship, getting inside the ropes and, talk about, how many events you've done, what it was like being in there on the PGA Tour and guiding him through it.
Well, the very, very first time I caddied on the PGA Tour was for Adam Hadwin. It was the 2012 Canadian Open at Hamilton.
Yeah.
And Adam and I are good friends. And I remember we were playing the Canadian Tour event in Saskatoon, which was a couple weeks maybe before the Canadian Open. And Adam and I went for dinner, or we had lunch at the club, something like that. And he said that he needed to find a caddy for the Canadian Open. And as a joke, I said, well, I'll do it. And he said, all right, you're in. And I'm like, Adam, I've never caddied before. So, and I got there. There was a rules official from the Canadian Tour that owned the house or that lived really close by, was a member at Hamilton. So he hosted me very gracefully. And I got there, I think, the Saturday before the tournament. And that's before the greens reading books and all that. So, I mean, I rolled the ball from every possible angle on every single green. And I really enjoyed it. And then when Adam showed up on Monday, we had a Pro-Am to play on Monday. Then we played 9 holes on Wednesday. Then a Pro-Am to play on Tuesday, 9 holes, Wednesday. And then, I mean, I was beat by the time Thursday rolled around. I was really excited to be inside the ropes. I remember we played with Billy Horschel and Bobby Gates. Mm-hmm. Bobby, who has left the golf scene now, but Billy Horschel obviously has had a really great career. And the 2 caddies that were their caddies are still on tour. And, it was a great experience. And then at that specific tournament, I saw my good friend Russell Knox, who Russell was just getting his PGA Tour card back then. Mm-hmm. And he saw me caddying for Hadwin. And then, Russell and I went to dinner. And then I remember it was the fall of 2012. It was the fall series back then. The Napa tournament, the Vegas tournament was in the fall on the fall series. And when I got done with the Canadian Tour season before Q School, Russell asked me to go caddy for him. So I caddied 3 or 4 events for Russell that fall. That's kind of how I started caddying to be fully honest with you, I've only caddied for friends. I've never caddied. I've never had a, employer-employee relationship with my players. Yeah. But to your question, I've caddied maybe 2 or 3 events for Hadwin. Yeah. I know I caddied Hamilton. I caddied Riviera a few years ago. Yeah, because cool. Joe, his caddy, became a dad. So obviously he needed some time off. And I'm in such a great position now with the job I have with media, the job I have at the Mirage, that, the caddy gig on the PGA Tour is a great job, but it's a cutthroat job, Yeah. When you have to take time off, you're always worried if you ask another caddy that if your player does well with the new guy,
you're out.
You might lose your job. I'm such in a great position. I don't want that job. I'm gonna do it to help out someone. Like Joe will never fear, Joe Cruz, Adam Hadwin's caddy,
Yeah.
will never fear that I'm after his job. Like I love what I do for a living, and I'm very fortunate to be able to make a living doing what I love. And so I'm not after anyone's job. So if any player out on the PGA Tour, they know that I'm available, especially from November to March, let's say.
Yeah.
I'm in Florida, and I teach at a really nice club in Florida, but I can take time off to go caddy if I know ahead of time. And I'm just in a great situation where I can go help out some friends without the caddy thinking that I'm going to try to steal his job.
Yeah. No, that reminds me of my DJ days when I played music solely for a living. I didn't do anything else, and that was always a problem. If you weren't able to attend an evening and someone else comes in, it's fresh music, it's different style, and a lot of times that was it. And same with me. I would go in and fill in for somebody, and before you know it, they're like, "Hey, can we talk to you?" That was great.
Correct.
So it's I can relate to the feeling about that. So now the Russell Knox, we had a sister on the pod a few months back, Diane. Yeah, she was interesting personality, former radio DJ herself, and now in tune with the sports betting, and was really interesting character. So we've always been kind of pulling for Russell Knox since then, and we actually didn't realize she was his sister until the night before the show. I was doing a little due diligence, and I was like, oh wow, so that was pretty fun. But and so this year, after covering the Masters, that's correct, you won the lottery to go out and play the course. So what was that like? Because that's everyone would cut off a finger to go out and play the course.
I mean, it was a really weird feeling, because so I've covered the Masters. It was maybe my fifth or sixth time at Augusta, because I actually went to watch some friends before that were playing in the event. Russell was one of them. It was my third time covering it as a TSN RDS member. First time after COVID, so 2020 and 2021. 2020, you had no one on the course. Like, I followed Tiger, and we were 3 people following him in November 2020. And then 21 was a little crowded, but not like this year. This year, the 2022 Masters, even the previous ones that I've never seen so many people at Augusta. It was incredible. So I got there, I brought my clubs. For some reason, I had a feeling that I was going to get picked for a few reasons. I know a few members from Augusta, so that helps. And when you win the lottery, so there's a written press lottery, and there's a TV radio lottery for the other types of media. And when you win the lottery, you're out for 7 years after that. So you can't win it 2 years in a row. So it's kind of a nice way of, if you cover the Masters long enough, you'll most likely get picked. And it's not everybody that signs up for the lottery, because there's a lot of media members, the cameramen, the sound guys, they don't even golf. They know nothing about golf. So that being said, so I signed up, and then you have all the guys from TSN and myself from RDS. So Bob has played it. All the other guys that I can think of from TSN, James Duddy and all that, they've all played it within the last 7 years. So they're out.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they pick, since TSN spends a lot of money to be there, I'm assuming that they pick one from every TV station, if you want. So I'm like, well, he doesn't golf. So I'm like, I just, for some reason, I had a feeling that I was going to get picked. And then The written press find out Thursday or Friday, I believe. So a good friend of mine who works for Le Journal de Montréal got picked, François David Rouleau, to name him. And then our lottery is not until Sunday morning. And then, we don't know each other quite well, but, I'm a very friendly guy. I like to make people laugh and all the stuff like that. So when I got into the TSN office, I was told that the lady at the front desk wanted to see me. And I honestly thought that she was going to, give me grief because I laughed too hard, because Augusta is really
yeah, you got to be on point. Yeah.
So, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, they're announcing who's playing. And so I got there, she gave me the envelope, which I kept, and I have everything intact because I don't want to ruin anything. I'll frame it and all that.
Yes, for sure.
And then they were surprised by my reaction. Like I wasn't in tears or I wasn't jumping out of joy and all that. And the reason is I've been so many times to Augusta that it's not like I've played it, but I've been there so many times that if you would have offered me, I'm glad I played it. It's off my bucket list, but if you would have offered me, hey, would you rather play Pine Valley, Cypress Point, the National in Toronto that I haven't played yet, Shinnecock Hills, courses that I haven't played or haven't seen, I would have picked those courses over Augusta. But now that I've played it, I'm very, very fortunate that I have played it. I loved my experience. The weather was incredible. I mean, you could not have had a better day. I had great playing partners, but it's not my favorite course.
Okay.
I preferred Oakmont. I preferred Marion there's courses in the Long Island area.
Yeah.
The courses in Chicago that are incredible. So the experience of playing Augusta is incredible. The course conditions are second to none. But as far as layout goes and all that, it's not my favorite club.
Okay, interesting. And then do you say that because of the style of golf that you play, or is it just just not your style of layout, right? Because it is quite undulated.
It is. I personally prefer flatter golf courses. It's very, very generous off the tee compared to Oakmont or Marion, where you can't miss a shot.
Yeah,
that's my style of golf. Not that I'm a world-class golfer. I play at a pretty nice level. I just love golf courses when they make you miserable. Oakmont or Bethpage, you just can't miss. You miss the fairway, you're dead. You're chipping out. You miss the green, you're dead. At Oakmont, you can 4-putt every green because they're so damn fast. So I know that if I ever design a golf course, I won't even want to play it because it's going to be ridiculously hard. And that's the thing that in Quebec, for example, golf courses are way too easy. They're always wet. Golf is not about being green and it's about being, my slogan is firm and fast. That's how I like my golf courses. And we got a long, long way to go here in Quebec to be like Toronto, for example. Toronto's got unbelievable golf courses.
It does. Yeah, they have so much golf in the GTA, and I agree with you on firm and fast. Like we, being out here in the West Coast, I find especially a lot of the public facilities, they overwater because they're protecting. They're scared that their fairways are going to get burnt out, and that drives me bananas when it's in the summer. And you land an iron shot a few feet short of the green, it just stops. You lose all the momentum. So you can't use your short game to roll up onto the green. You got to fly it to the greens, which they'll have the greens fast, fairways short, and it drives me effing mad sometimes. And the club that I'm a member at, fortunately, they let it go rock hard in the summer. Yellow burnt out grass. The greens are always fine, but I like to play to the season. So when we're in summer, hey, let's roll it out long. I'm 48. I don't hit the ball as far as I used to. So, when I can land it on a hard fairway and squeeze out another 15, 20, 30 yards, I'm in.
Correct.
You gave it to me.
And like my club per se, Le Mirage is a club. It's beautiful 36-hole facility, like I said, but there's a lot of corporate events. There's a lot of, Mondays and Tuesdays, we get the Canadian Tire, the Remax,
the scrambles.
Exactly. Well,
so they slow it down.
That's the prime example of if your course is consistently wet and green, those people who come and have a great day at the course, they don't know the etiquette. They're non-golfers. They don't know. So if your fairways are firm, they won't take the massive divots anymore. If your greens are a little firm, they don't have the high ball flight to make that huge pitch mark. They're just going to skip the ball on the green. But if your green's soaking wet, regardless of what you're hitting, it's making a crater on the green. So with the new ownership, I'm trying to make my point to, hey, it doesn't have to be a botanical garden. Like it's a golf course.
No, you're right. And it's, I can understand.
Cost efficient.
Yeah, no, it is, right. It's conserves water. There's probably a great environmental case that can be made to allowing the course to play to the seasonal conditions. And we get plenty of rain out here on the West Coast, so we don't really need to water these courses all that much. But they do it, and it gets frustrating. And I can understand as the beginning golfer, the scramble tournament attendees, it's maybe a little easier for them, but you come down to the greens and how frustrating it is to see pitch marks. It's like that's one of my pet peeves when I'm golfing, and I don't count how many I do, but I fix more than I make, I'll put it that way. And on these softer greens, that's going to be a problem. So it would be I think just let it go to summer, especially for all of you on the East Coast. Like your courses are closed for 5 or 6 months, so it's all right in the spring and the fall. I mean, I played fall golf in Ontario, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So
now the springs. So it's my fourth summer in Canada. I was 2 years at Laval sur le Lac, and then it's my second year at Le Mirage, and the springs have been terrible. There's basically no springs, but fall golf. I mean, September is probably the best month for golf. Almost till mid-October. The springs are wetter and colder every year, and then the falls are just fantastic.
No, that's right. And I remember from living back east, it's not as humid through September and October. So it's way more enjoyable. And, we can get some wet falls out here, but we can also have some beauty falls as well. And we are lucky to play all year out here. My particular course drains very well through the winter months. So, we're spoiled.
I remember my Canadian Tour years playing Uplands in Victoria.
Yeah.
And I mean, that place was brick hard all the time. I've played the Canadian Tour quite a bit, but I don't remember really being cold and rainy at Uplands. It was always nice weather. It was always beginning of June.
Yeah.
Very dry.
They get the least amount of rain in Canada over there near Victoria and that part of the island. So it's a great place. Did you ever play Mayfair Lakes on tour?
No.
Yeah, because Mike Weir, I believe Mike Weir won there in his day. It's a solid facility run by the golf.
The course we played in the Vancouver stop was called Hazelmere, I believe, in Surrey.
Yes, that is. It's a decent golf facility.
Where the ninth hole is like a iron, and then you go up to the clubhouse, par
Yeah.
4.
They got the back-to-back par 3s on the front 9, and there's it's a bit of a strange layout. But what they in the last 5 or 6 years, they've upgraded the drainage. They've built a beautiful new grass range, and it's not one of the premier golf courses out in our area, but it's a decent track, and because it had all the Canadian Tour events, they put some money into it. It's run by the West Coast Golf Group.
I've had a chance to play Shaughnessy before, which is fantastic. But those are the only 2 courses I've played in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So
Shaughnessy is a great golf course. The Canadian Open, about 15 years ago, really played
2011.
tough. Yes, they Stuart Appleby was complaining about it, and I played it a few times, probably about 10, 12 times over the years, and the rough is thick.
Tommy Gainey said, people or guys are still making fun of him because he said, he's got a really strong Southern accent. He said, they could host the U.S. Open here any year. And it's like, Tommy, we're in Canada.
Yeah.
So we got what he meant, but it just made no sense because you're in the wrong country.
Yeah, no, totally. So Tommy's got a way of getting the wrong media attention, I could say, right? With his latest news there a year or 2 ago. But that's 2 Gloves has a reputation, right? So I remember watching him in the Big Break on Golf Channel days, and so it's good to see he had a run. So what's your lowest round in competition?
I got maybe 3 or 4 62s, one at Uplands, actually.
Okay.
One at Uplands. Very good. It was a Saturday morning. I was second off. I was somewhere in a bar Friday night.
Yeah.
And it's kind of before the iPhone era and all that. So found out relatively late in the night that I hadn't made the cut. I thought I missed the cut.
Oh no.
And with very few hours of sleep, I just went to Uplands the next day. I hit driver everywhere.
Yeah.
And piped it. And shot 62 and went back to bed.
Nice. That's awesome. Sometimes when you just don't give a shit, you can go out there and perform your best, right? So that's funny.
I have a 62 there. I have a 62, so that's a par 70.
Yeah.
I have a 62 on the Hooters Tour in Florida.
Yeah.
At a course called Southern Dunes. And I've shot 62 a few more times. 63s, 64s.
That's amazing golf.
Yeah.
In your 2008 U.S. Open, how did you go through the qualifying tournaments to get there? So maybe run us through that journey, because I know that is grueling.
I remember I went. The local qualifier was at Dye Preserve in Jupiter. Actually, Corey Connors is a member there now. Michael Bleackley is a member there now. A bunch of tour guys are members at Dye Preserve. So I shot 70 or 71. We were 5 guys for 3 spots in the playoff. I birdied the first hole, which is a par 5. So 2 of us birdied, so I got through. And then sectional qualifier I did at a course near New York City. It's called Old Oaks. It's in Westchester County, about an hour from Manhattan. Just a great country club.
Yeah.
Just fabulous. It's near Wingfoot. Just an amazing place. For some reason, I wasn't allowed a practice round, or I don't know what happened. But so I drove there. The competition is on Monday. So I drove Sunday to with one of my best friends, Sebastian. He's a firefighter in Montreal. So him and I drove from Montreal to New York. It's about a 6-hour drive. We got there, noon time or so. We were told we couldn't play. Maybe the tee times were all booked, or I don't know. So we roughly walked the course. And then I remember I started on 10, and it was only 18 holes. It was a 36-hole competition, but we only played Old Oaks. That's what I'm trying to say. Because sometimes if there's more players, they'll have 2 courses. So it was only Old Oaks that year. I remember being quite nervous and defensive the first 9 holes, which was the back 9.
Yeah.
You know, trying to hit an iron to the corner of the dog leg, and and I hit it everywhere. I was missing. I kind of looked like Tiger on Thursday. I was hitting irons into the rough, and I shot 40 the first 9, and then the second 9, which was the front 9, I kind of hit more drivers, and I shot an even par 35, it was a par 70. For a round of 75. So then after that, there's a quick wraparound. There's a lunch inside the clubhouse. And I walk in there, and I thought I was out of it. And I looked, and I'm in 24th place.
Yeah.
Out of 90 golfers at 75. So then Sebastian and I went to my car, and I think we had an energy drink or something. And, I just kind of like the Uplands thing. I just said, screw it. And I hit driver everywhere. And then, so I start on 1, par 4. I cut the corner, wedge. Then I think I birdied a second hole. And the third hole is a downhill par 3. There's a little wooden path from 2 green to 3 tee.
Yeah.
And Sebastian dropped my putter head cover. So he notices that he dropped the putter head cover. So he goes back to the second green. So he goes into that little windy, woody area. I hit while he's gone. I jar it on the par 3. Hole in one on the par 3.
Wow.
It's the only shot he missed. His 36 hole was the hole in one shot.
Yeah.
So
you should have told him to wait in the parking lot after that.
Exactly. So, I remember there's another par 3. It was about 232 yards. I think it was. I hit a 3-iron to about an inch. I hit 2 flags during the day on top of a hole in one plus another kick in birdie. I mean, I was just striping it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So I shot 67, 3 under the second round to finish second. They took 4 spots. There was 1 guy under par, me at 2 over. And then after that was a bunch of guys at 4 over, I believe, for a playoff.
Yeah.
And it was just a weird feeling. They just tell you that you're going to the U.S. Open. So then I call my parents, and then medias in Montreal just went crazy. First of all, they didn't even know who I was because I kind of have an Anglophone sounding name. So they thought I was from Ontario. So then they finally figured out I could speak French. And so, yeah, I had a really busy week with media. It played at Torrey Pines in San Diego. So, I mean, it was a really fun week, nerve-wracking week. I was a deer in the headlights the entire week. But it was a lot of fun. And I shot 83, 78, and I beat my 2 playing partners by quite a few. They really hacked also.
Yeah.
And but it was fun to be around the guys, and I met Sean Foley that week.
Cool.
And I still keep in touch with Sean. We talk regularly. There's a lot of people I've met that week that I've kept in touch, and it was just a special week.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a tall order to go out there qualifying in your first U.S. Open there with all the top players. Plus, you're not getting the choice tee times either, so you're probably
dead last the first round,
teeing off at 5 to 6 in the morning, right? So,
I teed off on 10. I believe I had the last tee time of the morning wave the first day, and I'm third to hit, and my 2 playing partners snap hooked it out of bounds in the strip mall. Then I got a hit.
Yeah.
So I remember I was even par after like 5 holes, and then I saw my name on the board, and then it just went downhill from there. And then Tiger had this, sort of same tee time or before me, but he was on the other 9, so you could see the crowd gathering everywhere to see Tiger, because I was last on 10, he might have been 4th or 5th group on 1, So people were already gathering to see him, which he won that event on one leg.
Yes.
So they're just great memories. And, it was my first or second year as a golf professional or as a professional golfer. So, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a rude awakening I've never played conditions like that. And like the mini tours in the States, you don't play 7,600-yard golf courses.
No.
So yeah, no, I was a tall order.
Yeah, no, definitely. So no, that's amazing. Is there do you have plans to continue competing? What's your mindset there?
Well, I do, I play the Quebec section, the PGA of Quebec. Lucky enough, so this year is going to be my fourth year, like I said earlier. I was player of the year in 2019. It was my return to Quebec, if you want. 2020, they had tournaments, but they didn't keep a points list because they didn't know until last minute that they were going to have events. And then last year, 2021, I was again player of the year. So that's going well. And then I'm actually doing pretty well in the national events too. I came in second the first try to Wes Heffernan in the Canadians Assistant. And last year I came in third in the Canadians Assistant.
Yeah, very good.
So I'm racking up some national points too, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud member of the PGA of Canada. And, I'm a very proud member, and I love to, when I'm at Augusta, there, I say hi on behalf of the PGA of Canada and all that. So, and in Quebec, the same thing. I try to promote the PGA of Quebec as much as I do. I understand that I have, I guess, a bigger platform than most club pros, even in Canada. So I'm very, very, very proud of my peers of the PGA of Canada. They're all very hard workers, and whatever I can do to promote my peers because of the platform I have, I do it very proudly because, there's a lot of club pros that do amazing, amazing things, for amateur golfers.
Oh, 100%, right. A lot of people don't know what you guys do for the game, the sacrifices of time, the long hours at the club, and helping us for students or for managing, aspects of the club. And about your coaching, do you have who are you working with? Do you have any top players that you're working with? And what is your preferable student? Do you like molding a beginner, or do you prefer working with an elite golfer?
Well, I do help some of the elite players in Quebec, but I don't have time to have like an academy or anything like that. Like I just got done with 30 plus hours of coverage for the PGA Tour, the PGA Championship. I'm on air next week. Then I got to be at the Canadian Open. Then I'm back on air the following weekend. So I teach a lot of my members. I've said it openly though, which I find pretty, because I had the discussion with Derek Ingram, the coach of Team Canada. He doesn't really understand either why the coaches in Quebec don't really ask me for my opinion, or they don't. I don't know if it's because they don't think I'm interested, or if it's just that they don't want my opinion just because they maybe fear my PGA Tour experience. But I've said it and I say it again. If someone wants to turn professional, or someone wants some guidance, or even coaches that want some guidance, my door is always open.
Yeah.
My phone's always open. I'm reachable on a multitude of platforms. I'd love to be involved, but I don't have the time to coach someone full time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but with all my PGA Tour ties, I find it a little strange that the coaches in Quebec don't ask me. Like, I'd love to be a consultant. I'd love to, if I'm asked, to offer my opinion on things, because I feel like I have a pretty good background And if I don't know the answer, I can certainly find it by reaching out to a Derek Ingram, a Sean Foley, Claude Harmon.
Well, there you go. You've just put it out there. Anyone in Quebec who wants to ask Yohann something, don't be scared. Do it, right? So
correct.
But we haven't talked about the PGA Championship yet. Like that was some people were calling it a bit of a sleeper until yesterday happened. And what a turn of events. JT hung in there and turned it around, and he gave Bones the flag. There's so many things that transpired there. Mito Pereira, I'm sure he's what a class act for one. Right? I mean, he's going to learn from that mistake on 18. Golf's one of those games that you never know when that errant shot's going to slide out of you. But I think we'll see more of him. But what's your thoughts on how it transpired this weekend?
Well, I mean, first of all, the golf course is just magnificent. It's just a great golf course. It wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be played at Trump Bedminster.
That's right.
In New Jersey, and they changed it with, a year or two in advance, just because the PGA Tour cut ties with Donald Trump, because Doral used to be a fixture on the PGA Tour, and they're not going anymore because it's owned by Donald Trump. So that's one thing. I thought that the way they dealt with the concessions with an $18 Michelob Ultra, a $20 martini, I thought that was a little too much.
Absolutely.
And I honestly thought that it took away from, the fan experience and all that, because on Thursday and Friday, especially Thursday, when Tiger got done with his round and Rory and Jordan, I mean, I was doing the coverage in the afternoon, and we watched good golfers. We watched, Justin Thomas was playing. We watched Scotty Scheffler, and we watched a bunch of guys. I mean, there was no one out there. It seemed like. I know, for knowing the course, it is a strange. There's a lot of holes that are tightened up, in a bunch, so that the spectators are on the outside of those 2-3 holes, because you can't fit them in between the holes, because there's literally just a row of trees between the holes. So that being said, we didn't get really, I think Saturday and Sunday, the fans were more present, and a little louder, especially on Sunday, because the weather was finally back to some sort of normal. And that's, usually we see changes in weather more at a British Open, but to go from 90 degrees or 35 Celsius and humid to 15 and cold and a north wind on Saturday, that was really weird. And it took a lot of players by surprise. But the golf course was just magnificent. We had a great event, and, Mito played really, really well, and he still played really well. I mean, the 18th hole is just a beast of a hole. But I thought that Justin Thomas, if for 4 days, I mean, he played pretty good.
Yeah, he's he gets in contention, right? And it's a very fine line, but you miss 2 or 3 shots off, right? And you're not you're out of the winner's circle. And
I know Justin because we played together. I follow his career. I see him at all the Florida events. Sometimes I see him at his club, the Medalist in Florida during the winter. And I know he's said openly, he's been way too hard on himself. Especially in majors. I mean, he was no fun to be around sometimes. He was so intense, and he'd look at you with lasers in the eyes. Like, I understand that, but this week he seemed way calmer, mellower, and whatever happens. And I mean, I think that's going to be a great learning curve for him this week. To just do your little thing, just do your job, and see where the chips fall at the end of the week, because I mean, you are good enough to win multitudes of those. So.
Oh yeah, he had a talking to from Bones on Saturday, from what I read this morning, that he tried to refocus his mindset, and definitely was a contributing factor to his performance on Sunday. And it'd be great to see that carry on, because JT is probably destined to, obviously he's going to be a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
He's only got 2 major wins at this moment, but really should probably have 3 or 4 or 5 of them by this point. And I think he will. Yeah, he is young. He's I know at his age I was not there's room for improvement there, that's for sure. I think we're going to see a lot out of him, and this relationship with Bones is really in its infancy stages, so they could have a long career together, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Sure could. And then on another note, if Rory McIlroy would have known that 5 under was going to be in a playoff, I don't think he would have played that aggressively on Saturday and Sunday. He was trying to reach, and my goodness, we're hard on him. I think did he finish top 10 again?
I believe so. I don't have it.
The guy's a top 10 machine. He finished second at the Masters, and then the media are continuously in his face. But
he didn't want to talk yesterday, so he left. So now he's public enemy number 1. So
it's give the guy a break. He's a top 5 machine, top 10 machine.
Yeah.
Our Tiger kind of started that. The bar was set so high for him, and he continuously won and continued to win. And now it's we're looking for the next Tiger. We just need to accept that maybe there's never going to be another Tiger. Yeah. I mean, first of all, the depth of players now is incredible.
Any of these guys can win on any given day. There's 15 players who can be, in the winner's circle each week. And Tiger's day, he did, there were some good players and some guys who would contend with him, but he was at a different level mentally, physically. He changed the tour, and I've said this many times, that we're still seeing the roots of the Tiger effect coming in, right? To all these young kids, Zalatoris, he weighs less than the Wanamaker Trophy, but this kid is so good, and if he can get past his odd putting stroke, and he's and maybe clean up his putting stats a bit more, I think he's going to break through, and
he will.
But it's shocking to see Scheffler miss the cut. But geez, what a year this kid has had, and they're all in their 20s. These guys are they're all getting started, and there's more coming behind them. So
and it has a lot to do with Tiger brought the athletes to golf first of all, and now the way you don't have. I've never experienced Q. I'm 40 now, and I know I'm a late bloomer in golf. But I've never experienced Q School with Q School going right through to the PGA Tour. So the odd fluke of a guy going through Q School, playing well for a week and then getting his card, and then playing well another week and winning, you don't have that anymore. To get to the PGA Tour, unless you're a college superstar like Jordan Spieth was, and you get some exemptions, you got to go through PGA Tour Canada, then you got to go through the Korn Ferry Tour a year or 2 before you get to the big tour. So those guys are coming in like Mito. Mito comes in with a hell of a pedigree, and he's going to have a great career on the PGA Tour just because he's won. And he was a top 5 amateur in the world before. Then he turned pro. Then he went. So guys, when they get to the PGA Tour now, they have a substantial background of professional golf, because you can't, unless you're just a world beater, you're going to have to go through the stages to get to the PGA Tour. And once you get there, you're so well prepared.
Yeah.
You've played against, just look at Justin Thomas. Just look at Will Zalatoris. The guys that they played against in those southern brackets of college golf.
Yeah.
They've played against, Scheffler. Scheffler was at Texas.
Yeah.
Zalatoris and what was his name who played yesterday in his pairing? I'm going blank. Cameron Young. They were roommates at Wake Forest. So all those guys in their early to mid 20s, they've all played college golf. So then when they get to the PGA Tour all together, they're like, well, I've beaten this guy before. I've beaten that guy before. So it's like,
these fact that these kids, they're kids, whatever, they're young adults now, but they've known each other since childhood, and now they're maturing into the PGA Tour. And this, I think, just gives strength into the President's Cups and Ryder Cup teams. It's a whole different type of player where they like the old, not that long ago, all the guys fly in on different jets, and then these guys have went to school together, they eat dinner together, they break each other's balls like friends do. They're tight, right? So we're the European team and the international team, including us on the Canadian side. It's always a conflict for us as Canadians because we love the American teams.
I think the President's Cup team are just gonna get better. Like, the last President's Cup in Australia, the Americans had to do quite the comeback. But now that the old guard is off of the team, of the U.S. team, we saw it at last year's Ryder Cup. I mean, those young guns from the United States it's gonna be quite the team.
For
a long time.
It is. It's gonna be fun to watch. And so what do you think about the elephant in the golf society right now, the Live Tour coming out, and we're gonna it's drama. Like our sport has a lot of drama right now, and it's not going away, right? We saw Westwood lost sponsors last week, and Louis Oosthuizen, who's usually pretty neutral and doesn't speak too loud, but there's the shots are being fired from many different angles now. So what are your thoughts on this Live Tour?
Well, the PGA Tour has been so gracious. Yes, they basically own you, if you want, when you're a member, but they've been great to me. They've been great to a lot of people. The retirement plan they have on the PGA Tour, the child care, everything they do for you is incredible. People don't know that, but when there's a tournament in Dubai, when there's a tournament in Turkey or China or anything like that, most big player like Tiger, Justin Thomas, they get appearance fees.
Yes.
Like, to attract them, the flight's going to be paid, the fuel's going to be paid, they're going to have some cash to play in the event. So that's been going on forever. So I think where the problems went wrong for Phil, let's say, I think it's when he actively started recruiting players at PGA Tour events. And, his choice of words to describe the PGA Tour, he didn't probably regrets using those words because, he's a gazillionaire because of the PGA Tour.
He could have filtered that.
Exactly. But on the other hand, competition is always good. So the PGA Tour is going to have to look at themselves. They're not perfect. There's things that they can change, I'm sure, or that they can get better at. So I don't see that too much as a problem. But the Live Tour, like, who are they going to recruit? It might be the the players in their late 40s that are struggling a little bit to keep their cards or anything like that. But like, is that really the type of players that sponsors want? Like, they're going to want some big names so they can have some TV time and stuff like that. But
that's right.
I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I'm very happy with the way the PGA Tour has handled it. And the PGA Tour, I mean, they basically control the golf scene. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, but I'm not too worried about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely. I agree. I don't think it will be replacing the PGA Tour at
no,
all. Maybe the tour refines a few things here and there, but I think majority of the players recognize the what the tour has done for them and
correct.
for
And
golf.
it's the history of the tour too. Tiger said it very well in his press conferences. It's the legacy of the Byron Nelsons, the Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, those historical, marks, the to start a tour from brand new, and it's just simply for cash.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, they are self-employed. They are, basically, you work for your living. Like, golf is not a sport. It's not a team sport. So I get all that. But if you tell me that I'm one of the best players in the world, and because of, I don't know, $5 million, I can't play the Masters, I can't play the British Open anymore, I can't play the majors, I can't play Memorial, I can't play this, I can't play the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
For
sure.
It better be a lot of money.
Yeah, you're not getting world ranking points if you're not playing those events, so that's not going to earn you into entrance into anything. So and I agree, and we've said it a lot on the podcast, that it'll probably be the 40 somethings who are that in between Champions Tour and whatnot. But do you want to damage your ability to play Champions Tours events once you're over 50? Because the Live Tour is not going to want you. So so it's just, like I said, it's drama. And we'll see how this all unfolds. They seem to have unlimited money. I saw something last week that there's rumors going around of Greg Norman being ousted as the CEO and maybe replacing him. So who knows where, for all we know, it could be Phil Mickelson. So it's like,
correct.
who knows where that's going to go. So no, this is great. So, we're running about an hour now. You want to tell us a little bit about your Facebook group and some of your platforms and website, and let us know where we can find you and where we can learn more about you.
I'm very active on Twitter, so Yohann Benson is my handle. Same thing as for Instagram. I started a Facebook golf community when COVID hit in 2020. I just had nothing to do, and I did an interview, Skype interview with Mark Hubbard, and then my good friend who I caddied for all those years. And after listening to it, I thought it was pretty good. So then I started, I interviewed Hadwin, Sean Foley, Mike Weir, all friends of mine. And then I started putting those on the Facebook group. So if you can it's Yohann Benson Golf Community. You can find it on Facebook. So I started putting those podcasts, if you want, or video conversations. And then I started putting some, golf tips and stuff like that. And when it really boomed, if you want, is when I started putting behind the scenes stuff at Augusta. And, I'm very limited on what I can do at Augusta. But then I started putting videos of live practice rounds, like at the Players Championship. I'm walking with Corey Connors. I'm walking with Mark Hubbard, Russell Knox. So I'm on the course with those guys live, answering questions from the viewers. And obviously, being in Quebec, it's a lot of the videos are in French, but if it's an English viewer that asks me a question, obviously I'll answer in English. And like we said, we're up to 4,800 members now, and I'm going to put up my tournament schedule because I get quite a bit of followers, fans that come and watch, and with RDS, it really helps too. So I'll play a handful, 5 or 6 events in Quebec this summer. And people really enjoy coming out and watching. And, we have some good players in Quebec, so it's worth watching. And I'll be live at the Canadian Open, so I'm sure I'm going to do some live Facebook again on the course with the guys at the Canadian Open at St. George's. So it's just a lot of fun to do. And like I said, I'm very active on it. If someone needs something or just a example, last summer, there's 4 guys that are coming on a golf trip, or they're coming from Quebec City. It's a 3-hour drive to Montreal, and they want to know where to play. So they just wrote a post on my Facebook page, my golf page. And then I have a lot of colleagues from the PGA of Quebec that are members or GMs or anything. So they just wrote, hey, we're going to be in Montreal this day, and that day. Where could we golf? And then a GM from a club said, hey, I can take you guys at 1:30. And then another one said, hey, I can take you guys at my club the next day at 2:30. And so that's when I really thought it was really cool. It's just an example of how cool it is to have that platform where people can exchange. I've had people sell their clubs. It's really, really going well, and it's fun to exchange. And again, I'm so fortunate to have the ties that I have with tour players and caddies, and again, agents and other sports celebrities, a bunch of hockey players and all that. So it's fun. It's fun to put videos of Jonathan Huberdeau on the golf course in the summer, and talk about his passion for golf and all that. So
that's great.
It's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and it's great to see, you've got enough accreditations in golf that you could have an ego the size of a bus, but, it's nice to see you're approachable and you're giving back, to people. Approachable. Yeah, no, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So, one thing we love to finish off with is a funny or embarrassing story, and you got to have something good in the tank there. Is there something that stands out, and whether it's, a tournament or whatnot, that either you've done something embarrassing or witnessed something hilarious?
Oh, well, I mean, we would need it just to talk about the Hubbard Benson stories. We would need another hour. I'm trying to think embarrassing stuff that I've done on the course. I'm sure there is, but I got so many stories with Mark showing up to the course in running shoes, forgetting to put golf shoes, or, there's another event where he showed up. I think he had 11 clubs in his bag because he lost 3 the day before on the range, or forgot to put them in the bag.
Yeah.
We've had just, I always, and to this day, my 4 or 5 years caddying for Mark was babysitting. It wasn't caddying, it was babysitting. But I'm trying to know, I'm pretty organized when it comes to my golfing career, or when I go to play events and all that.
Yeah.
I've had some rough nights before events. That happens.
Yes.
And I'm very immature. Trouble finds me. I tend to think that I'm a good guy and that people like to gravitate towards me and all that, but man, I attract party animals and all that. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that. I've got a lot of party animals in my Rolodex, if you will. It stems back to the DJ days, which, I still do play once in a while, but I've got some friends in their 60s that can go harder than I can in my 40s. Correct. So it's like, no, that's great. So, no, that's great. I mean, thank you again for spending an hour with me today. And fortunately, Raf wasn't able to be here on this one, but, maybe we'll have you back later in the year and we'll do a recap, maybe once the playoffs are all wrapped up or something like that. Because I know Raf was, really looking forward to chatting with you. And to everyone watching, thank you. And we'll be sharing everything on social media, including Johann's links to his groups. So please join them. And as of tomorrow, with this show will be on all the podcast platforms. So we're on about 17 different platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Stitcher, and a whole bunch of stuff. So no, that's great. And thanks again to you, Yohann. That was fantastic chatting with you. And we'll do